That's right, like our legendary friend here says, welcome into the show. My name's Special Kid, and we're going to be doing a really great review for all of you horror RPG loving fans and friends of fear. And first of all, if you haven't yet, please hit that subscribe button so you're no longer a stranger. And hit the like button so we can get more videos out like this for all our horror loving ghouls and ghosts, just like me, Special Kid. Now this is a review of every Resident Evil game that I love and I personally know of. This is the King, the legendary series that started the horror RPG genre, and everything in between. We're going to review the good ones, and who knows, in another video, maybe we'll do the bad ones, because I've played every single one of these games, and this is by far my favorite series from the horror land of zombies, ghosts, and ghouls. And this was the one that began everything, so you're not going to want to miss out. Like I said, make sure you subscribe and hit that like button, because right now we're about to enter into my laboratory and my secret area where I show you every single piece of information that led me to the review of these games. I'll give you a hint. Started when I was a kid. Kind of like a virus. But it's time to dance. Dance our way into this review. Hit the like button and let's get going. Let's start off with Resident Evil in 1996 on the PlayStation 1. That's right, we're going to get ourselves in a situation where we can understand how this all began. This game was the one that started it all for us. That's right, it's a King Dingling that's swinging from the thing between, and it's got about 20 inches, and it's going to feed it to you whether you like it or not. All I'm saying is, this game is one of the most beautiful and stunning games from my generation that puts you in the game. You feel the horror. You don't know what's going to happen next. And this whole area is filled with zombies and creatures that just want to try and destroy you and stop you from completing your mission. Not to mention the endless amount of other creatures that are there as well besides zombies. Look at that dog. He just bound over that fence. He wants a piece of your ass. And then you have Barry. The characters are wonderful. He's trying to help you through this whole story, but there's plot twists and it's in-depth storytelling. The music is amazing. It makes you feel a certain way when you get to certain parts of the game. It emphasizes the scariness of the game, and that's what made this so great. You felt like you were in the game. It was almost like you were assimilated into the very game yourself. You're there with the character Jill Valentine, or you can play as Chris Redfield in this zombie-filled nightmare. It doesn't end. Zombie dogs, plants, even Neptune, a shark that's in there, and of course, a giant poisonous snake that wants to end you completely. Now, what made this so special was all these amazing puzzles that they have that help you to further the game. You really gotta think, and you really gotta keep yourself focused with your eyes on the prize, because if you take them off for 1 second, oh my gosh, it's game over. And then you hear that horrible sound at the end, Resident Evil, and the big sign that says you're dead. That was the most satisfying game over screen I've ever seen in my life, because not only did it motivate me to want to do the puzzles more and try to kill as many zombies as I can and further the story, it made me want to learn how to better play the game, how to get better areas to where I could save, get better weapons, and learn what I could from as much as I can while I was playing the game. Several hours were put into this. I'll tell you what, when I started playing this with my friend Tyler for the very first time, we didn't have a memory card, so we had to play the whole thing without dying. There were several times that we would stop and die and have to restart. I just remember falling in love with it. And if that doesn't tell you how much I love the game, by playing it without a memory card, I don't know what will, because there was no saves for me. I was just going through and playing as much as I could without being able to save. Yeah, I made it past the spiders. Yeah, I made it to an area that I probably shouldn't have been able to make it to, but that was made me fall in love with this game, was because I was in it. I couldn't save. I had to survive. And this horror survival game is an all-time legendary great. From the music, to the characters, to the story, to the puzzles, just to everything involved in this. It really shocks you. At any moment, a zombie could walk around the corner and be completely right in your face. I can't tell you how many times I jumped when I was playing this as a kid, because around every corner there was a zombie waiting for me to get right in my face and try to stop my progress and keep me from advancing to the next level so I could try to finish and get myself out of this terrifying mansion filled with ghosts, ghouls, and every kind of evil you could imagine. Now let's go to the PlayStation 2, where we're hanging out with our friend Leon in 1998. I think this was on the PlayStation 2. I'm not going to Google it. I don't do that. I'm not a know-it-all. But whoever made the Resident Evil series released the Resident Evil 2. And I could not be more excited, because like I said, this is what started it all for me. And for a lot of other people too. My friend Jason had got the second copy, and I literally ran away from my parents' house and went and stayed the weekend at his house and skipped school so that I could play this game, because I was so in love with the first one and I was so into the second one. I couldn't believe how amazing it was. Like I said, you could play as Leon Kennedy or Claire Redfield, and the zombies were back. The horror was back, but it was full throttle this time. More dogs, more zombies, and the setting was in a city. You were no longer enclosed in a tiny mansion. You had a whole city, a police department, underground sewage system, and there was an evil character that was following you named Dr. Birkin. He had somehow injected himself with some sort of serum that made him into this miserable monster, and you're just running around the whole town trying to escape with your life just by the hinges of your sack. Yeah, that's right. There's a few times things get hairy and they get real close, so you get yourself in a serious situation where you don't know whether you're going to survive or not. And that's what made these games so great. Were you going to live? Were you going to die? Were you going to be able to survive and move on to the next area and make it out alive? Yeah, Resident Evil 2 is definitely my favorite, because not only is there hidden characters, there's hidden agendas. It's like James Bond with zombies. It's the best way I could say it. And the character Birkin, oh, he is on you throughout pretty much the whole game. He's literally stalking you. And there's new cutscenes with new zombie animations, and everything is just like I said from the first one. But it's intensified. It's personified. It's like Resident Evil 1 on steroids. There's new creatures like the Licker. There's other characters that you cannot get yourself around. And every moment you're just waiting for these characters to end your game. Or not end your game, right? You're trying to survive. It's overwhelming. The stress and just the feel of being inside of it. I never played a game where I felt like I was inside this game. I was the character, and every overwhelming moment was there. Every terrifying story, every creature that was trying to take you down, you were inside the game with it, living, breathing with the character, trying to make your way out of it. I remember the day that I walked outside after playing this game, and I looked at life differently because I was so enamored and so involved in this world. I had, like I previously mentioned, assimilated myself into this video game and into this land of the undead, where the unspoken truths of puzzles and secrets from Umbrella are hiding, and at every moment you have to find a way through it and get yourself to a position to find these secrets and keep yourself alive. And who knows, maybe help others survive as well along the way, because that's what it's about, surviving. At every moment's notice, you have to be at your peak physical focus, because this one is way more intense than the first one. With the Lickers, with the zombies, with the cityscape, with Birkin following you, it's madness. There's no way that you're gonna get out of here without getting some sort of damage. The creatures are frightening, the tone is frightening, and it's pure evil incarnate. Now, the creator of Resident Evil made Resident Evil 3 Nemesis 1999, and holy sh**, did this one take the cake. I'm telling you, when I first played this, and this giant thing that looked undead, that looked like it had its head stapled to it, all you could see was his teeth. And when I went to go rent this at the video game store, by the way, back then, that's what we did, because that's how you got games. You didn't want to pay $50 for this. You wanted to rent it. Pay $5, play it 3 nights, push through the evil, and take it back. So, like I was saying, I was at the video store, and to my surprise one day, I went in to look for our game, and I seen Resident Evil 3, and on the cover of it was this giant, and I mean giant, undead zombie with a rocket launcher on his shoulder. I knew then that this was going to be a special game, but I didn't know how special it was going to be. From the terrifying scenes with all the zombies breaking through barriers, you have to stop them or it's literally the end for you. But more than anything else, I felt like there was more of an overwhelming feeling of dread here in this one, because the Nemesis is a program, and it's a giant creature. It's a giant zombie that was built in a laboratory with the alone purpose of just trying to destroy the STARS team and you yourself. So as you're maneuvering around this world, you have options. You can fight the Nemesis. You can run away from the Nemesis. You fight him, you might get a special weapon, but you may not live. If you run away from him, you can go on to the next part of the mission and try to save other people and keep yourself alive. It's literally one of the greatest games, and it's one of the first games I ever played that was horror, where it truly gave you choices, and you were just so terrified every moment, turning around the corner not knowing when the Nemesis is, because you just waited with bated breath, waited on the edge of your seat that this giant creature could just bust through a wall. Yeah, he busts through walls, by the way. Then he busts through doors. And he's taking your life. There's no doubt about that. The Nemesis. Alright, and really quickly, before we do Resident Evil 4, this is Code Veronica X. Now this game, I played with my friend Joey. This was on the PlayStation 2. I apologize. Resident Evil 2 was on the PlayStation, and so was the Nemesis 3. But the PlayStation 2, definitely Code Veronica X. Me and my friend, my best friend at the time, were both into RPG horror genre. He was into Resident Evil as well. We had played Suffering, Silent Hill, and several other horror games together, and we stumbled upon this golden ticket in the middle of a pile of crap at Circus Video in our hometown video store, and we rented it, got ourselves some soda pops, and stayed up all night playing the entire game and enjoying the scary moments that we have. Now, Claire Redfield is the antagonist in this one, but there's zombies everywhere, and they're a lot harder to get through. And the puzzles, oh my god, the puzzles. They are way harder than they were in any other game that I've played. I just remember this being the most predominantly, eager one that wants to make you get into a situation where you can't get out of. And there was also some sort of, system here, too, with for some reason, I felt like I went into more traps than I did puzzles. You know what I mean? And also, just like the Nemesis game, there's a character that can bust through the walls, and I think it's a tyrant if I'm remembering this game right. It's been so long since I played this. I can't remember everything. I drink a lot of beer, boys and girls. Don't drink alcohol. It's bad for your memory. That's why Special Kid has a memory like a ketchup bottle. That, and among other things. But this game was so wonderful. You should check it out. Now, moving on to everybody else's favorite one, Resident Evil 4 in 2005. Once again, we're here with our friend Leon Kennedy, and he's out in a different area of the world. This one was completely different because it had the tone of just like some other third world country, and there's a cult, and they have all kinds of demon-like powers. There's other creatures like the giant troll you see here. That's an undead giant troll. And there's other characters there too. They're trying to throw you off the scent so you don't complete the mission. You're looking for the president's daughter, Ashley. You stumble upon this dead, barren town, and there's a giant cult You don't know it at the time, but there's a man wandering around there who looks like Texas Chainsaw Massacre Leatherface. He's got a bag on his head with a chainsaw, and I swear to God, I screamed like a little girl when he cut my head off the first time, and then I learned. But this game also got you to feel it, because once you shot certain characters, there was other things that would happen, like the spider little things that popped out of their head, and you wanted to help the girl you were with, even though at times she could be really annoying. Thank you, Internet. I know that you hate Ashley. I get it. But I didn't mind it. It gave it another challenge and made Resident Evil even more of a legend than what it is already. It was one of the first games with quick time action events also, just like this where you're sprinting from the rock. And the monsters were even more gruesome looking. And it was a beautiful game. And it was on the GameCube the first time I remember it. They just used the 3D pre-rendered stock footage and then put the characters into it. The world was beautiful. There was more characters at once than any time the zombies. The cult members were coming after you, and the monsters you face were terrifying. And Leon's trying to do it all while under the influence of whatever else is going on with these cult members. That's right, he's been infected with whatever virus they have himself, and he's trying to fight through the sickness so he can save this girl and rid himself of this virus and try to survive so he can make it out and get what he needs to stop Umbrella. And I feel like that was the overall message of this game. You're stopping the creatures. You're trying to survive so you can ultimately get to the answers that are needed to make Umbrella quit these experiments. Now, if you've ever played a Resident Evil game, then you know how exciting it is. You can hear it in my voice when I'm talking about it. I feel like I'm a kid again, and I love this series. If you've never played a Resident Evil game, do yourself a favor. Go to a local pawn shop. Go to your friend's house. Borrow a system. Get online to the current system you have. Buy some of these old games. Get an emulator. Do anything. I mean, do what you can to play the game. Go back, play the first one, and if you don't want to play it on the previous systems they have, all of the games I just mentioned, I think except for Code Veronica X, have remakes. 4 is currently in the process of being made, but the other 3 are beautiful remastered versions out there, and you can insert yourself into it and enjoy the legend that is Resident Evil. 25 years strong, ladies and gentlemen. You can't go wrong with that. The proof is in the pudding, the horror pudding. And as long as we keep loving these games and supporting them like we need to, the more they're gonna put them out. And I gotta say, this is one of my favorite series of all time. I hope you enjoyed the review, and if you want to see me do the bad games that I think are weird, let us know down in the comments. And I gotta tell you, I'm gonna be more excited to do something with our little buddy that pops out of my chest, because he's hilarious and he will trash those bad games. Yeah, but like I said, it's Halloween. Do yourself a favor, find some Resident Evil, get yourself into this world, sit down, do whatever you got to, drink a pop, have yourself a beer, enjoy the game.